coatl. He said that when I would come back to lead my people, I will return them in the form of a feathered serpent, a snake with wings. On the vernal equinox of every year, March 21st or 22nd, depending on the year, thousands of people gather in the Yucatan Peninsula, the valley, to witness what happens when the sun shines down upon one of the temples. There's a shadow of a snake, resembling a snake, that comes down each one of the 365 steps to the bottom. In the fall time, the opposite happens. It goes up, down, our own bodies. So even within Mayan and Aztec pyramid culture, they also have concept of a snake. Now our Mason brothers also know. Geez, I hate that thing. Oh, where did I put that? I have it right here somewhere. Good, here it is. You got it? Oh, good. See, they put the knowledge right in front of our eyes all the time. Maybe they're just waiting for us to wake up. And when we do, when we get rid of the bad guys in there. American Medical Association. There's a hieroglyph taken off one of the Egyptian columns. Hey, look, there's America Online. America Online, the internet serving company. Pyramid capstone with an eye-looking shape in the center. You'll find a whole bunch of examples. It's full of masonry inside all these things. Tons of it. The Egyptians. King Tutankhamun's mask, when they found it. I think it was in the early 1900s. Is that right? Early 1900s. They found King Tutankhamun's mask. Beautiful mask, adorned with gold, blue, it's not turquoise, what was it? Does anybody... Aquamarine? Is that a lapis lazuli? Lapis lazuli? Is that what it was? Okay. Well, whatever it was a beautiful mask. What do you see on that mask? Look here. Yeah. Right out of the forehead. Now extend that snake, because the snake's body just doesn't end at the forehead. It continues on. Watch this. There's a snake's head. What was a symbol for a shepherd in the old Hebrew days? A staff. Yeah, it's all the same language. They put it right in front of our eyes all the time. I think some of those good guys within those groups are waiting for us to wake up, while the bad guys are doing their crap on their side. Okay, we'll jump right into part 3. Put these away. If it means something to you, yep. But to me, it's just coincidence. I gotta go back there and get my cards. Oh, okay. Oh, he's gone. Okay, thanks. Whoa, talk about a force field, eh? Okay. This is the shortest part of the story coming up, and it's one of my favorites because it demonstrates in concrete terms how magnificent the Egyptian culture, or whoever built those darn pyramids, were. How magnificent it is. I saw a question back. I think about 15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah?
Take as long as you want, Stephan.
I think about 15 minutes, Debbie. Okay, the Napoleon, when he had his famous, I'm not going to say conquering of Egypt, but when they invaded Egypt, he brought a whole bunch of scientists with him. And he said, I want you guys to study that darn thing and tell me what you find in there. His guys found it, but also other teams of archaeologists and mathematicians have found it. What they've discovered is that when you walk around the base of the Great Pyramid, and you measure the length of each side, and you add it up to this side, and you add it to this side, and add it to this side, you come up with a certain number of inches. Now if you take that measurement and if you divide it by 2 times the height of the pyramid, from this point in the center to the top, the number that you come to when you divide the side by the height is 3.14. Pi. Yeah, pi. The value that allows you to determine the circumference of a circle by its diameter, or vice versa. Pi has changed throughout the centuries. It hasn't always been 3.14. Yeah, man. It's okay. I'll bring it over here, man. I won't. Yeah. Okay. The Babylonians, what they had for pi was 25 divided by 8. And what that gave them was 3.125. That was their value for pi. You'll find all these references in mathematical literature. There's historical references to pi. The Hebrews for pi, the version that they had for pi was very simple. 3. 3. Our version for pi is very complicated. It's a random series of numbers that goes on. At last count, it's a Japanese person that has the record, 206 billion digits after the decimal. Random numbers. Purely random, no order at all, to what they've discovered so far. But the Egyptians and the Greeks, they had a different version for pi. One that is actually still taught in schools today, in some schools. And it was special in many ways, but their version for pi was 22 divided by 7 equals 3.142857. Now, just looking at it just like that, it doesn't say anything special. I mean, there's nothing really special looking about that, except if you look at the mathematical capabilities of the number 7. Who wants this calculator? You're going to do it? Okay. I'm going to ask you to take any number, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's not already a multiple of 7. Okay, now a multiple of 7 is like 14, 21, 28, 35. Have you learned multiples yet? You have? Okay, take any number and not a multiple of 7. Like 14, 21, 28. Don't take those numbers. 39, yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, take 39, now divide it by 7. You got that? And then press equal. When you get an answer, I want you to tell us what your answer is. 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. It continues on. It doesn't fit. It won't. It can't. It's a circle. Any number divided by 7 that isn't already a multiple of 7 will always give you a 6-digit series of numbers that eternally repeats itself. 142857, 14257, 142857, 142857. It'll continue forever. It'll never stop. Never. Never, 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 never. Any number. Try another one. And then press equal and then tell us what your answer is. What's the answer? 3.7142857. The Egyptians were onto something, my friends. They were onto something. Pi is not just a number. It's not just a mathematical ratio. It's a message. It's a message telling us something. It reveals in mathematical terms and cellular biological terms, we'll get into that later on, how we came to Earth as physical beings, how we merged with the Earth as crystal beings, how we received a childlike blessing, like a Christ-like blessing, a fountain of youth energy that gave our bodies the potential to eternally regenerate ourselves. In other words, physical immortality. We never had to die when we first came here. Now, physical immortality isn't about living forever. That's not what I'm saying. Physical immortality in this context is more like however long Spirit wanted you to live here in this realm was however long you were meant to live, whether it was 900 years, 9,000 years, 9 minutes, 9 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 hours, 4 decades. It's kind of like how a snorkel swimmer swims to the top of the water, takes a deep breath, and dives in. Well, you can't hold your breath forever. Eventually, you got to go back up for air. Same thing with us. We could come here on vacation if you want, or on honeymoon, but we had to go back into the light to regenerate, to remember who we were. Otherwise, if you spend too much time on your vacation, you're no longer on vacation, you're home, but not your true home. How does pi say that? 22 over 7 equals 3.142857. That's a Greek letter, by the way. This symbol right here, that's an actual Greek letter in the Greek alphabet. So the Greeks even incorporated the thing into their alphabet. The number 22 in all numerological systems, the number 22 is called a master number. It's often referred to as the master builder. It's the number of an entity that has a light within. And that light within can inspire, can motivate, can move masses and itself. And also what? The Queen? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Anybody have a lighter or a set of matches I could borrow? Nobody smoke? Boy, we're all too health conscious here. Any unhealthy people here? Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't see it because of that. Hey, perfect. If this is a great example here. It's hard for us to look at the sun, isn't it? People can do it during the sun dance, and you can also look with polarized sunglasses, but essentially, you can think of our true selves as being this little flame. That's us, living in a physical body, this lighter. As spirits, we wanted to know what it was like to live in a physical body. So you can think of this as the 22, that little light, our true selves, that came from a greater light, solar energy. Not necessarily the sun, but something greater than the sun. Something that the sun even comes from. And beyond that, you can go on and on. This little 22, this little spirit says, I want to experience life in a physical body. How am I going to do that? Because I don't have one yet. What's going to happen, oh thanks, is that by merging with the earth, that little light, once I come into the earth's atmosphere, this crystal-filled, because there's rivers of water up there. There's rivers of it, lakes, oceans of water up there, in crystal form in the clouds. That little light, as soon as it reaches the earth's atmosphere, will go 7 parts, 7 visible parts to our eyes. 22, a spirit, comes into a physical body as 7. 6 visible parts of light plus 1 invisible one, ultraviolet. You can think of it in those terms. So when we're looking at rainbows, we're also looking at the earth chakras. And we're a direct part of that. We're family to that. Whatever, the earth contains, we contain as well. So you could almost think of this as a love-making session. It's a love-making session between our Father who art in heaven and our Mother Earth. And we're the children of Mother Earth. What did that guy say a couple of thousand years ago? Only through me can you access my Father who is in heaven. 22 over 7 equals that little child. That C energy, that 3. That 3 energy lives in everything and anyone. It's a prerequisite to having the immortal and physical body and having all our shape-shifting abilities and all that. Before you can do that, you have to acknowledge that there is a sacred energy web encompassing the earth itself. You can call it Christ, you can call it whatever you want. The force, a sacred energy web. But there's a dark side to it. As much as there is a good side to the force, there's also a dark side to the force. And what I'd like to do right now is just do a little exercise that'll if you link up hands with one another, just touching hands like that, I'll go somewhere in here. Where's there room for me here? Where can I go in? Right there? Okay. Yep. I'm going to ask somebody to initiate an action with their hands. Oops. I'll go right here. I'll go right here. Okay, right. Oh, we're good with you. Okay, so now, who am I going to... I'll ask you. I'm going to ask you to make a circular action with your hands, like a circle or something like that. And then everybody will try to follow her actions. Okay? But so you don't have to look at her, because you'll feel it come down the line when she does it. So whatever you want to do with your hands, you can go like this. You can go like this. Whatever you want to do with your hands, just make it nice and gentle so we can follow it, okay? And then it'll just go down the line. So I'm not even going to look, and I'll just wait until it comes to me. Boy, that was fast. Okay. Okay. Now here comes another thing. While that's continuing on, okay, it's going down. Okay. Debbie,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to initiate another circular action with your hands, and then we'll follow that one. Oh, that is different. Yeah.
What's coming?
Yeah.
Which way will it come from?
I don't know. I don't know where it came from. It's hard to tell. You know why it's hard to tell? In a different world. And also in this kind of relationship with one another, there's no leader and there's no follower. It's hard to know who in the heck's leading what. Yeah. Okay. Kevin? Kevin, you do the same thing. Can you initiate another action with your hands? Or are you going to change hands? Okay. For some reason, I felt more shoulders in that one. Oh, yeah, he's got his shoulders moving. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's the good side of the force. We're already intermarried with one another. We're already spiritually married with one another. We're each other's lovers on a spiritual level. And we'll refuse as one in the far future from now. We're not ready for it now. Too many issues with each other. But, okay? But, now what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate the dark side of the force. Okay, this is when power struggles happen. Okay, let's hold hands again. And we'll come back to the good side again, just so we don't leave ourselves on a bad thing there. Okay, I'll initiate it this time. Okay. How come you talked with that person over there? How come you're wearing that tonight? I don't really like it when you wear that thing tonight. Man, oh man, oh man. You know, I think I'll... Okay. Pretty different, eh? Yeah, it's okay. Now what this is that this physically demonstrates the kind of relationship we've been having with each other for the last few thousand years. Oh yeah, we've been caught up in this mode of the 3 F's. An excess in the 3 activities that we enjoy: feasting, fighting, and fornicating. Okay, excesses and everything like that. Like way too much of. And what that's done is that it's created. Oh man, I'm almost done.
That's okay. I was checking because they had dessert ready, so I didn't want to break up the group with the dessert. So I'm trying to coordinate all the different things.
Yep.
That's all.
So we'll go back into the the good one. We'll go back into the good one here, just because really, I mean, this is essentially what we really want. I don't know who's. Okay, I don't know who led what, whatever. But it just feels better. It's easier. Doesn't feel as bad. So there's a marital arts, and there's also a martial arts. Okay, same word, same letters in the word, but depending on how you spell it, different meaning altogether. Okay, so that's maybe hundreds of years from now, maybe tomorrow. We don't know when it'll happen again. But right now we're going through our learning process. Sorry? Oh, geez, yeah, thanks. Sorry. There you go. Thanks a lot. Really helped. 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. How in the world does that relate with a physical body? Well, there's a great miracle that happens whenever This little guy here races down that tunnel and winds up at the egg and says, let me in. I got the right genetic password. And the egg lets that spermatozoa in. And what happens to this guy? He loses his tail. Becomes just the head and fuses with the egg. And then this little guy here with that egg forms one tiny little cell. And that one little cell says, well, I'm kind of bored here. I want to do something different. I think I'll kind of create some company for myself. He says, I'm going to double up everything I have inside myself, all my ribosomes, my chromosomes, my DNA strands, everything else, and I'm going to split up in two. So one cell becomes two. And then these two cells, they do the same thing. They become 4 cells. And then 4 cells become 8 cells. It doubles again. It becomes 16 cells, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, and so on and so on and so on. Until finally what you get is, well, depending on what organisms came together, either a human being, another creature, plants. The way that you get 142857 out of these numbers representing the cells in the reproductive system is what happens when you just simply reduce each number to one digit. 1 is 1. It can't be reduced. 2 can't be reduced. It's still 2. 4 is 4. 8 is 8. Now 16 becomes 7 because 1 plus 6 is 7. 3 plus 2 is 5. 6 plus 4 is 10. But 1 and 0 is 1 again. 128 is 11. 1 and 1 is 2. 256 becomes 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. So what you have now is 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2. But pi goes 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. Different. Same numbers, but in a different sequence. But perfectly different. Because when you link up the 2, what you get is the cells go 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. Pi goes 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. 1, 4, 2, 8, 5. Look what happens with the numbers. You link them up. These are switched. See? You link them up, and what do you get? What you get is a click, 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 on, off, 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 on, off. Whatever crystals are capable of doing, we're capable of doing. And our computers, already in their primitive state, are already alive and sentient beings. They're learning from us right now. Whatever we invest into them, through means of the internet, through software, they're taking in. And they'll mirror us in the future. They're talking about nanobots. In the next 100 years, 150 years, they'll be able to, microscopic little computers that'll attach to our skin and send us 3D virtual images. What are we teaching our computers? There's all sorts of wild stuff on the internet right now, but there's also some good stuff. Essentially, they mirror the good and the bad qualities of humanity right now. What it also says is that because pi goes on forever, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, like a circle, once we reconnect with all the steps when we first became spiritual, once we reconnect with spirit, our own cells will be able to regenerate. And already research has isolated the gene strand that's responsible for shortening the human lifespan. Right now we're trying to do it with science. But eventually, once we smarten it up and try to do it more on a spiritual level, we'll get there. This depends on how purposefully we... So to put that all back in perspective, what you have is solar energy that provides... It's the home of spirit. My people used to worship the sun through a window. The sun for them wasn't the entity itself. The sun just represented a window through which you could view the Great Spirit beyond. People believe that we worship the sun. That's a falsehood. The same thing as we never put pot in our pipes. Okay, you didn't see pink elephants flying around whenever you smoked our peace pipes. There's just natural tobacco. In the Southwest, they did use peyote. But when you go to Indian ceremonies today, you smoke that pipe, The only hallucination you see is your own spirit telling you different things because of your connections. But there's nothing hallucinogenic in it. 22 comes to the earth, makes love with the earth crystals, divides that light into 7 parts corresponding to the 6 visible chakras plus the 7th invisible one. The union between the two creates a little child energy, that 3 energy, that beautiful little child energy that believes in anything. When you tell a kid that's about this high that you can fly, that kid, what does he do? Or what does she do? They'll go put on a towel for crying out loud and try to jump out the window. You just told them they could fly. They believe anything because they love you. Once we have that same relationship with the Creator and we believe that we can do anything, holy smokes, this planet is going to be in for a big makeover. Whew. Unreal. The cells go 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. Pi goes 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. They're the same numbers, but just in a different sequence. And in the future, we will merge with our computers. But eventually, even they will become organic. Just like how originally we were able to create co-created organic beings called animals and plants. We created these things a long time ago. When we see an ant, we played a direct part in creating that being. And the evolution is still going on. There's spirits out there that are still doing that. We've just forgotten about it. So it carries a sacred responsibility. Our best technological achievements, cloning, laser beams, the whole bit, that's just peanuts. Peanuts compared to what we're able to do. It's nothing. We're able to do much more than just that. But it also demands a certain responsibility. It's scary at the same time because are we ready to handle that? Maybe it's best that certain technologies are only discovered at a certain pace rather than immediately. So if the question were to be asked, how long does life go on for? I guess it just depends. How long are you able to walk around in circles? And that's star nations. If you want, I can go into why Chaldean numerology doesn't have a number 9 in it. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys have questions or not, but I'll get into them after. Where's that marker? There it is. Okay, where do I have that numerology card? It was here somewhere, wasn't it? What's that?
Why would I have any questions? You just told me I was God.
Oh. Hey, where's that numerology thing that I had here? Oh, here it is. Okay, numerology. There's the Chaldeans believed that the number 9 couldn't be given to any one letter because it was believed that, oh, thanks. It was believed that the number 9 is too powerful a number and could only be given to God because only God had the power to give life or to take life. And number 9 was given those qualities. Well, in what way? In what way does 9 have the power to give life or take life? Mathematics. If you add 9 to any number, plus 1, okay, equals 10. 1 and 0 is 1. 9 sacrificed itself. It gave its life. God sacrifices itself for us. You know, when through our own free will. It says, I'm not going to interfere. I'm just going to keep on giving you life. It's what you're asking for. God has the power to take life away when you multiply. 9 times any number. 9 times 8 equals 72. 7 plus 2 is 9. Scratch 8. So 9 has the power to give life or take life, and that for that reason it was often the number ascribed to God. But God couldn't have a name; it was the unnameable. So therefore, they never put the number 9 ascribed to any letter. So what's interesting about that is when you look at certain when you look at certain names throughout history that have been named, and you start realizing that there's a reason why these names were given that vibration. Here's one that comes to mind. The king. Do you know how many Elvis impersonators there are around the world? They've literally lost their lives. They aren't themselves anymore. They think they're the king. They're saying the blue suede shoes, whatever that song is. Okay. E is 5, 3, 6, 1, 3. When you add up this number to itself, what you come up with is 18, and 1 and 8 is 9. You add up this number here, this comes up to 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. And then, of course, 9 plus 9 is 18. It reduces down. Now, Elvis, at the same time, conversely, because every yin has its yang, Elvis also inspired millions through his music. He saved lives, in a sense. Some people actually stopped committing suicide because of his songs. You know? So very powerful. Our names contain power. They're very spiritual names. Another name that comes to mind is one that hasn't been given only to one individual. It's been given to several individuals. Very famous individuals. And they're some of the two most popular names in the English language when you combine them together. This is it. Can you guess what the second name is going to be? John Paul I, John Paul II, John Paul III. Popes, religion throughout history has had the power to either give life, give you a belief system, or take life. How many wars have been fought in the names of religion? You know, same thing. 18, 9, 18, 9, 9, 9, 18, 9. Same thing. So there's a reason why this guy, and this guy's name wasn't even that in Italian. It's not Giovanni Paolo. A lot of these guys were given that name on purpose when they became Pope. Yeah, I was going to say to office, but they don't call it an office. I guess you call it you don't even call it a term. What do you call it when you become a Pope? Papacy? Oh, yeah, that's right. Thanks. Here's another famous one. Everybody will recognize this one for sure, too. Then according to that chart again, we go 1, 5, 3, 6, 3, 3, 5, 2, 1, 3, 4. 18, 9, 18.
Is there any difference in value if it's an upper or lowercase letter?
No. And Chaldean numerology differs from other forms of numerology in the sense that it only takes the name that you think of yourself as, not the name you were born with. Has no relevance. Neither does the month that you were born in, neither does the year. It only takes the date of birth that you were born in and the name that you currently think of yourself as. So for Louise Ciccone, her number would be different. Her number would be according to the name that she chose for herself, Madonna. And that's the numerological name that she would... Now, if you want books that are written on this form of numerology, Linda Goodman is a good one, and also Kiro or Cairo, I can never pronounce his darn name, Kiro or Cairo's Book of Numbers. He was a palmist that lived in the early 1900s. Look at that, Jesus Christ. Okay, look. It's a swear word now, but it's also a name that we pronounce regularly when we go to church or something. Something that saves lives on one continent because of his sacrifice. Turn that thing sideways, what has it become? It becomes a sword. The same sword that killed thousands of millions of people whenever conquistadors and other guys came over and pried open our throats and poured Jesus down. Same thing. But, again, this name has the power to save and destroy. Okay, here's another one. What's the international prefix for the entity that represents the global human mind in electronic terms? What's the international prefix, regardless of the language, regardless of the culture, for the internet? Yeah. Very simple. Now let's pull something out here, because I finally did bring something. I always forget to bring this little sucker. What's a beast? Beast is a horse. Could be a dragon if you think in those terms. It's a cow. It's a human. It's a donkey. It's a rabbit. A beast is something that's primal. Well, what's primal? Primal is something that's passionate, energetic, driven, a little bit obsessive. Now, when you have a horse or a cow or anything like that, if you have a field, you can tame the horse, you can tame the cow, you can ask it to plow your field, right? That's a good use of the beast. But if you tame that cow and then you forget how, or you neglect it, eventually that beast will turn on you. Start stepping on your toes behind you or in front of you, or nibble on your butt whenever you're not looking and go, ow! And that, it'll turn wild on you. It'll start wreaking havoc. So a beast has a yin and yang function to it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because the dark side of us can also be applied to good if you know how to channel it. Like I said last night, every demolition crew needs every construction crew needs its demolition man, its explosives guy.